Someone once asked me what it felt like to be married to Victor Loring. I told them it felt like keeping a leopard in a cage. The day I got the divorce text, my hands were shaking, not from fear. From excitement, $200 million. I signed the agreement before the ink was dry, walked away with nothing but the clothes on my back, and bought the most expensive penthouse in the city. He thought he'd thrown out a charity case. What he didn't know was that I was already carrying his quadruplets. Now, this man, this untouchable Godfather, who has never knelt before anyone, is on his knees in my living room, eyes raw and red. I didn't send that text, he says. I touch my stomach. And I smile. I smile and watch his expression collapse from shock into something that looks a lot like terror. The ultrasound probe is cold against my abdomen, sliding slow and deliberate across my skin. I lock my eyes on the monitor. My heart is hammering so hard I can feel it in my teeth. The doctor adjusts her glasses. Her expression shifts, calm to startled, startled to something I can only describe as disbelief. She checks the image again, and again, then she turns to face me, and her voice is unsteady. "Mrs. Loring, is something wrong?" My chest seizes. Cold sweat floods my palms. "Don't let something be wrong, please. No. No, it's not that." She pulls in a slow breath. Preliminary readings indicate quadruplets, 4 gestational sacs, all 4 showing fetal heartbeats. The room goes white. 4. I pinch the inside of my thigh hard. The sharp bloom of pain confirms I'm awake. This is real. I walk out of the clinic clutching the ultrasound printout like it weighs 50 pounds. The afternoon sun hits my face, and I feel nothing warm in it, only the vast, blurry shape of a future I can't make out yet. My name is Grace Loring. I married into the Loring family 1 year ago. My husband, Victor Loring, runs the most powerful criminal organization this city has ever known. Our marriage was a transaction, family business sealed with a ring and a courthouse signature. No courtship, no affection, barely even eye contact. In 12 months, I've seen him fewer times than I can count on both hands. He's always handling business, always in some family meeting, always somewhere that isn't home. Inside the Loring estate, I am furniture, invisible, decorative, and quietly despised by his mother and his sister. And now I'm carrying 4 of his children. Will he even want them? Will the family let me carry them? How the hell do I raise 4 kids alone? The questions swarm, relentless, until my skull throbs. My phone chimes. Victor. My pulse jumps. I swipe the screen open. The message is 4 words long. 200 million. Divorce. I read it 3 times, then a 4th. My brain keeps trying to make it say something else. 200 million. Divorce. Silence stretches for maybe 3 seconds. Then it hits me, a wave of pure, almost violent joy. My whole body floods with it. I'm shaking so hard I can barely aim my fingers at the keyboard. I type back slowly, deliberately, savoring every letter. "Whatever you say." "Send." His reply is nearly instant. "Victor to the last, precise, minimal, efficient. My attorney will bring the agreement to you tomorrow. 10 o'clock. I stare at the screen. Then I laugh. Out loud. Alone on the sidewalk. Ultrasound printout in my purse. 4 heartbeats inside me. 200 million? Are you kidding me? I can raise 40 kids on that. So what are we worried about, babies? Nothing. We're not worried about a damn thing. I fold the ultrasound carefully and slide it into my bag with both hands, like it's made of glass. "Don't worry," I murmur, pressing my palm flat against my stomach. "Mama's about to get us a real home. As for Victor Loring, as for the whole goddamn Loring empire, I'm done. From now on, I'm just Grace. Grace with a lot of money, and no last name she didn't earn." When I walk back through the door of the Loring estate, that cold, cavernous place they call home, I notice, for the first time, how clean the air feels. I hum to myself. Pack my things. It doesn't take long. 1 suitcase, everything I came with. The designer bags Victor gave me. The jewelry. The cards. I leave every last piece of it exactly where it sits. I didn't come here for things, and I'm not leaving with things. I'm leaving with $200 million and 4 tiny lives, and that is more than enough. The next morning, 9:59, the doorbell rings on the dot. I open the door to Mr. Donnelly, Victor's lead attorney, standing on the step in his usual gray suit, gold-rimmed glasses, expression like a man who has delivered bad news so many times it no longer registers on his face. "Mrs. Loring," he holds out a leather document sleeve. "Victor has asked me to present you with the divorce agreement. Please review it at your convenience, and—" "Absolutely." I take it from his hands before he finishes the sentence, flip straight to the signature page, and click my pen. There's a pause. "Mrs. Loring," he says carefully, "don't you want to review the terms? Particularly the asset division?" "I trust Victor," I say, already signing. And I trust your work, Mr. Donnelly. Something flickers behind his glasses. He looks like a man who wants to say something and has decided, wisely, not to. I hand the paperwork back and get to the only thing that actually matters. When does the money clear? A beat. Victor said within the hour of your signature. Great. I step back, gesture toward the driveway. Then I won't keep you. I have a flight to catch. The shock on his face, just barely visible behind all that professional composure, is the most entertaining thing I've seen all month. He expected tears, a scene, accusations screamed down the hallway. He expected me to fall apart. I pull the door shut, grab my suitcase, and walk away from the Loring estate without a single backwards glance. The bank notification comes exactly 53 minutes later. I sit in the back of the cab, stare at the number on my screen, and feel something vast and warm settle into my chest. I've never understood, before this exact moment, what it means to feel genuinely safe. I tell the driver to take me to Beverly Hills. The sales associate at the luxury condominium tower gives me a once-over that lands somewhere between professional courtesy and quiet skepticism. I'm carrying one suitcase. I didn't call ahead. Do you have an appointment? I don't. I pull out my phone and show her my account balance. She straightens immediately. Her smile becomes real. 30 minutes later, I'm signing the deed to an $80 million penthouse with floor-to-ceiling panoramic views, a private pool, and a rooftop garden. Full payment. Cash. I stand at the glass wall that evening, looking down at the whole city stretched out below me, a circuit board glowing in the dark, and I breathe out, long and slow. This is what free feels like. What do you think? I press my hand to my stomach. Is this good enough for the four of you? I call Victoria the moment I'm settled. She picks up on the first ring. Grace? You little traitor. You finally remembered I exist? How is the Loring situation? Is that husband of yours treating you right? What about his mother? What about Bike? Vic. My voice cracks. Just that one syllable. Just her name. Who do I have to hurt? Tell me where to go. Nobody. I swallow, collect myself. I just missed you. A breath. I'm divorced, Vic. Dead silence. A full 30 seconds. Divorced? I filed. That son of a. I filed, Vic. I wanted out. It wasn't him. A pause. Then, fierce and warm all at once. Good for you. I never liked the way that family looked at you. You were too good for that whole operation from day one. You should have listened to me. You're right. I know, I was wrong. Where are you? I'm sending my driver. I bought a place. Beverly Hills. Penthouse. Beverly, where did you get the— Wait, did he pay you off? Settlement. A long grudging exhale. Fine, he gets 1 point for that. Then, I'm still coming tomorrow. I know you are, I say, already smiling. I hang up and sit in the quiet of my new living room, surrounded by views I own, and think, this is what it feels like to have someone in your corner. No matter what I do, no matter how badly I burn it all down, she'll be there. She always is. Back at the Loring estate, the temperature drops by several degrees. Mr. Donnelly sets the signed paperwork on Victor's desk, his expression carefully neutral. She signed, he says. Immediately, without reading it. Victor is overseas when it happens, a critical piece of family business, the kind that requires his physical presence and total attention. His phone has been in the hands of his deputy. That deputy answers to Sabrina Hawk. She grew up alongside Victor, spent 2 decades positioning herself as the natural, inevitable, obvious choice for the Loring throne. The underground world treats her name as a synonym for his. She's been preparing for that role since before she was old enough to know what it demanded. Then, a year ago, Victor walked into a courthouse and married a woman nobody had ever heard of. The backstory: no ceremony, no gown, no ring, no guests, no reception, just a marriage certificate, 2 signatures, and the expression Victor always wears, that particular blankness that reveals nothing and gives nothing away. The next morning, every financial outlet in the country ran the same headline in different fonts. By day 3, the gossip forums were calling me Cinderella. By day 4, Sabrina Hawk had smashed an entire tea service at her private club. What gives her the right? She didn't lower her voice. She wanted the other tables to hear. 7 years. I have spent 7 years at that man's side. I managed his PR through 3 hostile takeovers. I know which color tie he wears when the markets are down. 7 years of that, and he walks into a courthouse with some annul, with some nobody. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. Everyone in that room already understood what she was leaving out. I thought that seat was mine. After that day, the look she gave me was the look you give a package that got signed for by accident. Wrong address, wrong value. Someone made an error. She called me that woman to my face. She called me Veep. Actor's mistake, to everyone else. In her podcast, that refined, sophisticated platform she used like a shiv. She implied there had to be leverage involved. Coercion, desperation, a woman like that? She said, voice honeyed, what else could she possibly offer? I never corrected her. Partly because she was half right, there was something that made Victor choose me. But it wasn't what she assumed. Route 1, Maine, a year before the wedding. A night of driving rain so hard the headlights only cleared 5 or 6 feet ahead. At the edge of that visibility, I saw it, the car on its roof in the ditch, nose first into a pine, all 4 wheels in the air. I stopped. He was heavy getting him out through the crumpled door. Rain cut the blood from his face in thin lines. When I got a clear look at him, I recognized him, not personally, but from screens. Financial news. Corporate takeovers. The anchor's voice reading his name in that flat, transactional tone, Victor Loring. A deep laceration below his left ribs. The blood soaked warm through my scarf and down onto my knees. I used the scarf as a compress, dragged him into the back of my pickup. The nearest hospital was 32 miles. I drove it in 40 minutes. He didn't move once the whole ride. The ER nurse heard his name, and her face changed. I waited 2 hours in the corridor, soaked through. A man in a suit came, Banir Harris. Victor's executive assistant, as I later learned. He looked at me like he was running a threat assessment, not expressing gratitude. The next morning, my bank account had a number in it that made me stand in the shower staring at my phone for 3 full minutes. I declined it. Not out of principle. Because accepting would have turned that night into a transaction. And I didn't want that night to be a transaction. 3 weeks later, Victor appeared at the garage where I worked. Dark gray overcoat, pressed shirt, French cuffs catching the light. He was holding my scarf, laundered, folded, smelling of a dry cleaner I'd never been able to afford. The cream fabric that had been soaked through with his blood looked new again. He stood there quietly for a moment, then, you didn't take the money, I didn't need that much. Most people would have stopped for no one on a road like that, in weather like that. Maybe. He came back after that, not intrusively, not in a way that felt like surveillance, though it was essentially surveillance. Some afternoons, his car would be parked across the street, he'd sit in the back seat with documents, occasionally he'd glance over. This continued for approximately 2 months. Then one afternoon I was eating a takeout lunch on the steps outside the garage when he walked across the street and sat down on the step beside me. A $3,000 suit getting concrete dust on it. Why do you keep coming here? I asked. I've been thinking about something, he said. A person who doesn't know who I am, stops on a highway in a storm, pulls me out of a wreck, drives me to a hospital, and then turns down a sum of money that would have let her close this place permanently. He paused. I've been trying to understand why. My chopsticks went still. I've been wondering, he continued, in exactly the same tone he might use to present quarterly projections, whether there's any possibility, that if she were willing to marry me, it would be simply because she thought I was worth it. The sun was bright. His expression was entirely composed. His ears were red. I found out later that this was the first time in Victor Loring's adult life that he didn't know what the answer was going to be. Worth it. I put down the container. You've been watching me for 2 months to ask that? I wasn't watching. I was observing. Is there a difference? He thought about it. No. I laughed. First time I'd ever laughed in front of him. He stared at me for a moment, then looked away. I'll think about it. I said. About what? Marrying you. 3 seconds of silence. How long do you need? I don't know. Would 3 days be enough? Are you negotiating with me right now? No. A pause. Yes. Everything after that moved fast. Fast enough that sometimes I think, if I'm being honest, what that car landed on in the ditch wasn't just Victor, it was the quiet, ordinary anonymous life I might otherwise have had. In the year that followed, Sabrina worked steadily to dismantle me. Quietly, deliberately, the way professionals dismantle things. She waited until Victor was out of the country. Then she borrowed his phone. Her plan was precise. Send me a divorce text. Watch me crumble. Stand by as the devoted, understanding, sympathetic family friend who picks up the pieces. Give Victor one more reason to be grateful she was there. It was a good plan. She just miscalculated one thing. I didn't want that seat. The housekeeper reports to the Loring matriarch with visible apprehension. Ma'am, she's gone. Elena Loring sets down her face mask slowly. Gone is gone. Did she clean out the room? Her own bag only, ma'am. The jewelry, all of it, everything you and Mr. Victor gave her, it's still in the cases. The black card is on the dresser. She left a note. Elena Loring tears the mask off her face.